Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And today let's talk about made in China. I think there's a lot of different feelings about countries of origin, and some are okay. You know, we've got a huge following of German pliers, you know, or Swiss tools. But when it comes to things like, say, Made in America Snap-on, something like this, you know, how can someone then support obviously made in China right down there at the bottom, Milwaukee tools? And I think there are some differences that need to be addressed between countries of origin and then marketing. And what the marketing indicates may have something to do with trust. And to me, the ultimate situation with country of origin, with tools, with tool quality, is can I trust it? And that isn't just trusting that it's not going to break. It's trusting that the materials are safe maybe for human hands. You know, I've picked up some screwdriver handles, actually some tool handles, and they just have an odd feeling. And it's like, I'm not sure what the material is, and I'm not sure if I should be touching it. Is it safe? Is the paint, the off-gassing? I've been in some stores that sell a lot of tools and stuff made in China, and the chemical smells are just intense. But I also think there's some shenanigans, I guess, with marketing. And to me, that's also an indication of trust. So to start off, let's go way back to the beginning of my cheap tool experience. These are Wilmars. I got these in the early 80s. That was about 10 years after the company started, I guess. And they, you know, were sourcing tools from around the world. I don't know if they were forging them themselves at all. Look at that. This one was made in Korea. And I didn't know Korea was, you know, a hub of plier manufacturers. These are just silky smooth, even after, you know, decades. Some abuse. These are now a rock, you know, at the pivot. But the jaws are still pretty good. These actually were Wilmar's sourced in Taiwan. Now, the couple of things I want to point out. One is this is pounded into here, basically, where it was made. This one's, you know, printed on pretty well before laser engraving. I think it's important that the tool manufacturer own up to it, and in fact may even say, you know, made with pride or something. You know, I've got right here, made in, or Swiss made, you know, a Swiss tool. This one's odd. A lot of the Wera tools don't say where they're made right on them. It comes with a little tag, or it's indicated somewhere else, or it's really small, buried in the plastic, that says made in Czech Republic, not necessarily Germany. So I'm wondering if that's kind of the same thing that some of these tool manufacturers are playing here. Here's a Blue Point. This was made in Taiwan, this Blue Point knife. I have no trouble with that. You know, they seem to make excellent tools in Taiwan. Japan is claiming, you know, responsibility for these pliers. That's important. Made in Japan, right there on it. In fact, I think it's even better when something has it, let's say, I'll show you through the Knipex here. So I've got handles made in Germany. Not an indication on the metal that I can find. And then here, not only you know, is there the little, there it is, tiny made in Germany, but that to me is more than made up by literally forging it directly into the handles. Here's another one. Instead of just saying Germany, now forged in is made in Germany. Let's be crystal clear about what we're talking about, in addition to putting it on the vinyl handles. So this is in there for life. And even their tiny little guy here, where they were running out of room, look what they found they could put in here. Made in Germany. Now that to me is the pride of the tool. And if you can't do that, if you don't want to do that, if you want to hide and pretend, then, you know, it makes me wonder a little bit, you know, about should I trust that tool, the chemicals in it, the metallurgy, the strength, the hardness, etc. Now, a lot of electronic tools are different because they're probably made in China. China is set up to do this. Now, not all. Like, we often point to cell phones, and if you look at Apple's, you know, they've got their little feel-good designed by Apple in California, assembled in China. You know, that's kind of a feel-good measure there. Yeti does the same thing. If we look right here, it says designed in Texas, made in China. But why doesn't Klein have a big made in China? Proudly made in China. Proudly made in China with excellent materials or something like that. Because over here, here's a Klein. Here's a Klein. Here's a Klein. Okay, this Klein here I think was made in China. How do I know that? You can look it up, and it might have been on the package when I opened it. In fact, this oddly has, the unboxing of this I think has the most number of views of any of my videos. Didn't see that coming. Here we've got it right up on the handle. Here on this one we have got made in Germany. So Klein Tools, they have no trouble telling me that this one's made in Germany, but they do seem to avoid putting a kind of a label of pride on a lot of the electronics. It's harder to find where it's made. Here's a couple, Milwaukee. This is probably made in China. I can't remember because I don't have the package. On the other hand, this Gerber, Portland, Oregon, USA. They're going to tell me up front if it's USA made, and then if they make or they sell overseas made stuff, I have to dig sometimes to figure out where it's made, and to me that's hiding, that they should just own up to it. Forged, made in Sweden. You know, here on the handle, made in Spain. Japan, the US. Here's a Klein. They could do something like this. Made in China, I assume. China, right there on it. I like this level. It's a good, solid level. That's a little better ownership. They're saying, yeah, it's made in China, but there's nothing wrong with it. You know, they're sourcing good materials and good quality control, and maybe because of the aluminum, that's their environmental standards are lower for using the aluminum in manufacturing. I don't know. This is Russian. This vernier caliper. And it's actually not sourced anywhere on it, or it doesn't say where it's from. I know it's from Russia. But anyway, I was going to mention the phone. Most of the Apple stuff all comes from China. In fact, I think they've abandoned their Mac Pro line here in the US, so now everything is. Samsung used to be made in China. They closed their last factory, I believe, in China in 2019, and now they're mostly made in Vietnam, I believe. I don't know if they're made in any are made in South Korea anymore. Remember what happened when Snap-on decided to remove the USA from the back of their ratchet? You know, here's two examples. This is a new one. This is the one that they removed it from, and I don't have the previous one that had USA on it. In fact, here's a great big one. I mean, there was something about having USA that it would have been worth it for Snap-on, not just to have it on the handle there. They were making up excuses like there's not enough room or something. Well, they managed to fit it on the little guys with a button and everything. But anyway, that was, you know, that was a crazy moment when they removed that USA. Like, what was going on? Well, maybe there was a spring or something made in China or somewhere, and but anyway, we stood up, they got their act together, put it back on there. So claim the pride in it. Even little tiny Eklund here somehow manages to wedge in there, made in the USA on theirs. So I look at it as pride of ownership. If you make something, you should say where it's made, and you should be proud of it. If you're not, if you're going to hide the country of origin, then I don't know what else you're hiding. Maybe you're cutting some other corners somewhere. And I really don't like that feeling, especially with hand tools, wondering, gee, could this handle break because they've got, poor hardening, poor quality control, substandard recycled metal. In fact, I've heard one time, this was quite a while ago, some, I think, recycled rebar from a decommissioned nuclear power plant ended up in being used for other things. Well, it was radioactive. You know, there was just, where could you get material, and then how quickly can you put it into something else and make money? I don't want these snapping off. I don't want a broken hand or a injury because my cheap tool was not designed to hold up under normal use. Yes, extreme use, I expect all of them will snap or break or bend, but I've had pliers where the jaws broke or the pivot broke or the handle broke. Actually, I haven't had the handle broke on pliers. I've had that on something else. What was it? A saw. But anyway, it worries me. I'm a big fan of American-made cutlery, of German cutlery, of Japanese cutlery, not of Chinese cutlery. I wouldn't trust this in a hard use because I don't know if it's going to just snap off there or break in the handle. I don't know what's going on with it. But, it was a lot less than something like that. Anyway, so all I'm trying to say is this is a deeper question than just country of origin. So I would ask the tool manufacturers, if you're going to make your tool and put your name on it, and you're going to sell it to us, sometimes at those premium prices, and you are hesitating to tell me where it's made, look in a mirror. Why? You should say exactly where it's made and then defend it, and it's okay. But if you actually are hiding something, maybe cheap manufacturing, maybe 1 out of every 10 of these off the assembly line is defective, but I don't see that. I see the ones that, the gentleman on the assembly line didn't notice were defective, or the computer didn't, pick up any defects. I'd rather have the feeling that there were people involved who cared, whether they're in China or Austria or Japan or Vietnam or America, that's what's going on. But if you feel like, as a tool company, that you need to hide where it's made, then I've lost trust right at that point. And that's one of my decision makers as to whether or not I want to pursue a country of origin manufacturer for a particular tool. And that's really what it comes down to. And with that, tell me your thoughts too. Please share. So I'll be quiet and listen to you now. So with that, Doc out.